Unions in Spain are protesting against labour reforms which the government hopes will cut unemployment.
Road, rail and air transport are all affected. Our correspondent Lisa Miller joins us now on the phone from the Spanish capital, Madrid. Good morning to you, Lisa. We saw a series of violent clashes in Madrid last year between protesters and riot police. Has there been a repeat of those kind of scenes?
No, look, it's been largely peaceful. Certainly in Barcelona, there were some bonfires set outside the stock exchange. There were some broken windows, but I would have spent about 3 hours out on the streets this morning, and while they were very noisy and there were a lot of protesters and certainly making their presence felt, there was no violence at all. There were thousands of police officers, though, on duty. In fact, the Spaniards that I was talking to said that they had not seen that number of police officers at previous protests. So that might give you an indication of the worry from the government, who, as you indicated, there's the austerity plans that are being brought in, there's very high unemployment, and perhaps a real concern that patience is wearing thin here in Spain as they face some very tough times ahead.
So what exactly are the measures that the government's looking to introduce that so upset workers?
Oh, look, it goes back to some fairly fundamental changes to a complicated employment situation here. It changes the number of days that you can be paid out if you're stacked. The argument has been that there are two different worlds going on in Spain. There are people who are on watertight contracts that they will have for 50 years, and there are 23% of the population who can't get jobs at all. So they are trying to make it easier for hiring and firing, hoping that companies will in fact start hiring when the economy turns around. But Karina, it's not only the labour reforms, because we're just hours away from the government announcing its budget, which some are predicting is going to be the harshest ever seen in Europe, that Spain is now having to contemplate up to $50 billion in cuts and tax increases to the budget, and it's all because it's signed off on these deals with the European Union. It's promised to get its debt down. It's now under pressure from the other countries not to go the way of Greece.
And we know that Spain has the highest unemployment in Europe, and youth unemployment is up above 50%. So is this dissatisfaction likely to grow?
Well, probably, but in fact some of the Spaniards I was speaking to today said that they were almost so exhausted from it all that they felt that their heart wasn't in the protests. Spain's argued it's a different case to Greece, that it actually is fundamentally budgetary sound, that it doesn't have the kind of debt that Greece did. There's this derogatory term that they've used over here called the pigs: Portugal, Italy, Ireland, Greece and Spain, all the troubled children of the EU. Well, Spain says it should be singular. There's no reason why the S should be on the end of that word, that it is not going to go the way of Greece. It's not going to need a bailout, but certainly the population, when you're facing that kind of cuts to social welfare, that kind of level of unemployment, I mean, that fundamentally changes the face of a country.